Alright, this is the final update. The Burning Totem build is finished. It's pretty much perfect. There's almost nothing I would change. I've tinkered with it, I've tested, I've played around with it, I finished everything in the game multiple times. I farmed all the bosses in the game a bunch of different times. I farmed Simulacrum a bunch of times. I ran expeditions, I ran maps. I ran trials, I ran secmas, I ran everything. I think this is as good as the build could possibly get. I don't think there's anything I would really change at this point. I think it feels really good to play this. The tweaks would be so small that there's not much point in making more edits other than just buying nicer items, but that's basically it. Alright guys, this is my last video on this one. I've done lots of videos on this totem build. So if you're curious about it, you can go back and watch my other videos. I've been working on this build for a long time. I put a lot of time into it. I've run a lot of iterations. I've tested a lot of things. If you're curious about some of the things I've tested, you can go back and watch parts 1 through 6 of this build and see how it progressed. If you also have questions, there might be answers for that stuff in those older videos. But I'll take you through it, show you how it works. And of course, if this helps you, like the video to boost it in the algorithm so that it can help other people as well. You don't ever have to really change anything when you go in to fight bosses. You just switch to your 2 hammers, and you have big damage. Alright, so this is the last update on the skill tree. So I did a split here on my skill tree. I did a split here to grab this block chance. I grabbed this area of effect, weapon set 1, and this is on weapon set 1. I grabbed this on weapon set 2. I grabbed this on weapon set 2. This is on both weapon sets. This is on both weapon sets. Grabbed these nodes here to avoid stuns. This is on both weapon sets. I did a split here with this area attack damage. So that's just on weapon set 1 for in maps. I still am running this strength. If you feel like you have enough strength, you could drop this. This strength is just nice to have because it gives you a little bit of HP, and HP is really nice. Like I have 4,061 HP. I was going to put it against the darkness in here, but I didn't get around to it. So if I had a 4% fire plus max fire res, I would plop that in here. If I was playing like a Titan or a Warbringer, I'd probably just use an HP jewel and put that in here. And I still have this from nothing diamond here with this setup here. These are on weapon set 1. The rest of the nodes are on all weapon sets. So I didn't change any of that. I had an extra point, so I dropped it there. The Avatar of Fire, weapon set 1. And then I have this anointed. I have all of this. I have the blood magic. I have the megalomaniac. A lot of this hasn't changed. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you'll know this stuff. I kept brutality, mostly just because I liked the strength for the HP bonus, because HP feels really good. It keeps you alive. I have the giant's blood. I grabbed all this totem damage and split off a little bit in here. I did a weapon set split for these. Grabbed these 2. Grabbed all this totem damage, grabbed this area of effect stuff on weapon set 1, and grabbed this attack speed. I dropped Polymathy because I didn't need it. If you wanted to run Polymathy for more strength and more HP and more attributes, you could definitely do that. I still pathed up here. I still have this jewel in here, mace damage, totem damage, placement speed, fire damage. So the thing that's important to note is your totems do get affected by the fire damage, the mace damage. So you actually get damage from your fire damage, from your totem damage, and from your mace damage. So this jewel gives me 3 sources of damage, plus totem placement speed. And totem placement speed's really, really nice. So if you get jewels with totem placement speed, it feels a lot better to play this. So totem placement speed is actually underrated. If you couldn't find it on jewels, it might even be worth taking a couple of totem placement speed nodes. Specifically the 20%ers, just in a couple different locations on the tree. So wherever you can find totem placement speed, I think there's a little bit here. Yeah, like maybe be worth running these 2 on maybe weapon set 1. So if you don't have enough totem placement speed, you put some on weapon set 1, and it'll feel good when you're in maps. So that's one thing you can do is if you don't have good totem placement speed, just grab a little bit on weapon set 1 for mapping. It'll feel a lot better. And I pathed up here and I grabbed this. Now, this whole bit right here is very important. And the reason this is important is because you're going to need this if you're doing things like max tier Simulacrum, because this keeps you alive. This is your defense in max tier Simulacrum. If you use these movement speed's OP in this game. If you don't know that, movement speed's super OP. And you use this here as well. That's important. And you use this. So the combination of all these things this node here on weapon set 1, or both weapon sets if you're running a shield full time. These nodes here, these nodes here, these nodes here, and this node is what keeps you alive in max tier simulacrum. So just pay attention to that if you're ever doing this in the future, that this is what you're probably going to need. And reduced potency of debuff slows is really nice in max tier simulacrum too. Like slows get you killed, slows and bleed get you killed. So it's also good to use a bleed charm. Like if you're doing a max tier simulacrum, you're going to want like a slow charm and a bleed charm, and then it won't feel so bad. So bleed charm and slow charm, definitely the way to go. This one's just a unique bleed charm. But that's it. This is the final update on the tree. I think this tree is pretty much perfect. If I had Against the Darkness here, I would move those few points just to grab this stuff on weapon set 1. But other than that, I wouldn't really change anything else. That's basically it. Everything feels really good. It plays really well. These weapon set 1 splits feel good. There's really nothing I could change here. I think this is pretty much perfect. I am super happy with how it performs. I deleted everything in the game with it. It was really easy. It was very relaxing to play. It was very budget friendly. So yeah, this is now permanently immortalized on the internet for the future. All right, something else I think that is important to note, if you're doing things like max tier simulacrum or really difficult bosses and you want to make sure that you don't die, it's never a bad idea to carry a couple of these with you, these little omens of resurgence. So when you get low life, this thing will pop and it'll heal you up. It's also not a bad idea to carry these around as well to limit how much experience you lose when you die, because after you hit level 90, you're going to notice a lot of experience loss when you die, and it becomes a lot harder to level up. So it's never a bad idea to carry a couple of these and a couple of these with you, especially if you're going to go do things where you're not confident that you could survive. So just make sure you have a few of these if you are going to do like a max tier simulacrum, or you're going to run a boss and you're not fully confident. Just grab a couple of these, and then make sure you have a couple of these with you if you just don't want to lose experience. Okay, so the last couple of things I've done since making the last video was I Val Orbed my Ancestor Warrior Totems to see if I could get a +1. One of them hit, so I got a +1 on one of these. So when I swap to double hammers, I have a level 40 on one of these. I could buy another one, but I just haven't got around to it. I'm just too lazy. I probably should get it done. I think they're only like a divine or two to buy one from the market, but ideally I should have this one also up to level 21. I also corrupted my Rolling Slam and my Sunder, so they got to level 40 as well, so they're hard capped. So I have a level 40 Sunder, a level 40 Rolling Slam, a level 40 Ancestor Warrior Totem on this one, level 39 here. If I wanted more damage, I could corrupt this one or get another one that is corrupted for a level 40 as well. So I could do that if I wanted to, but I just haven't got around to it because I'm too lazy. I moved a couple of things around in the gems that feel nice. My Sunder, I'm still using Martial Tempo, Upheaval, Fire Infusion, and Ancestral Urgency. But on my Rolling Slam for my quick swap for bossing, when I'm just rolling around the maps, I put Primal Armament, Immolate, Concentrated Effect, and Elemental Focus. Immolate and Elemental Focus combine well together since they cannot ignite, but you just ignite them with your Solar Orb. So when a boss spawns, or you just go to fight a boss, you just hit him with a Solar Orb, boss is ignited, and then you'll take advantage of the fact that they're ignited, so you'll get the bonus damage anyway. And then I'm just using Primal Armament, Conk Effect, Elemental Focus, and this feels really good, so I really like this. My Earthquake, I've been using Ingenuity, Fist of War, Reach, Expanse, Magnified Effect. I was also using Encumbrance in here, which I didn't mind either. I liked Encumbrance also. Ingenuity I also like, so I think it's a swap to whatever you want. Ignore Execute. I just had Execute in here because I was using a Deepest Tower on and off as an experiment. And you can ignore all these Mace Strike gems. I was just using this as a place to store gems, so they actually aren't anything. I was just had them parked there as a storage location. So the only gems that really matter are here. The Encumbrance I didn't mind on Earthquake, especially in Simulacrum. I also like Ingenuity for the increased cooldown when I'm mapping. So in mapping, I like Ingenuity. When I'm in Simulacrum, I like Encumbrance, so that's the only change I really make. When I go into Simulacrum, I take the Upheaval off, and I move in one of the damage gems. So I move in like a Primal Armament or something like that, and I run Simulacrum like this: Martial Tempo, Primal Armament, Fire Infusion, and then Urgency. So that's the only switch I make when I go into Simulacrum. But otherwise, I leave Upheaval in pretty much the whole time. Um, Leap Slam, I just have Cadence, Momentum, Holy Descent, and Close Combat. These aren't really that important. Cadence is just nice because it makes you Leap Slam around faster. Since you're not using Leap Slam for anything except traversal around the map, it's not super important. Leap Slam is just like a supportive skill for you to jump around the map just as a convenience. I'm still using this Antlion Charger with the Shock. The Shock is really nice for boss damage. I have Meat Shield, Elemental Army, Overcharge, and Last Gasp on him. Time of Need with Vitality and Fast Forward. So I'm still using this. I like this setup a lot. I think it's very good. Um, Solar Orb with Strip Away, Fire Exposure, Font of Rage, and Font of Blood. So I'm still using this. Flammability with Ritual Curse and Heightened Curse. So this is, I think, the perfect gem setup for this. Basically, all you do is drop an Ancestral Warrior, hit an Earthquake, and the totems will just clean up all the trash. And you don't have to worry about anything. Everything gets sorted out by the totems. It's nice and relaxing to play, very comfortable, cleans up like every bit of content in the game, no problem. So this is really nice. You can take off Upheaval if you feel like you're desperate for more damage, but you'll clear slower. So with the Upheaval on, my totem is at 71k damage. With the Upheaval off, it would jump up to 120. So it's 120 for everyone. And then, of course, the little waves cause some damage when they connect. So they cause 30,000 damage, and that causes a little AoE pop when they hit the enemies. So yeah, this is a really nice setup. It's very comfy to play. I like it quite a bit. And Shield Charge, of course, is still just for moving around the map. Just combines nice with your Leap Slam. And then you can just Shield Charge, Leap Slam, Shield Charge. So I haven't changed anything as far as skills go much, but I made a couple little changes in the skill gems that I liked, and they feel pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that. And it just saves a lot of changing and moving things around because you can pretty much run this setup full time. You don't ever have to really change anything when you go in to fight bosses. You just switch to your 2 hammers. Then you have big damage, level 40 gem, level 40 gem, and just monster damage. A rolling slam does so much damage. Does what is it? Second slam 410,000 plus all your exposure effects. So yeah, it's pretty good. Plus all your non-tooltip damage. So yeah, it's pretty strong. It's really strong. It deletes bosses really fast. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've done for skills. I haven't changed much as far as equipment. I've just got this hammer with the elemental damage, maximum elemental damage, maximum level to melee skills. I have 3 skill speed socketed into it, which feels nice for moving around. I also have 2 other hammers with double skill speeds. I could val these for a 3rd socket, but I don't want to have to brick them and buy new ones because I'm just too lazy to buy new ones. I mean, I could go out and buy some new ones right now, but I just don't feel like it. If I brick them, then I got to go and find more, and it's just a whole headache. So I didn't feel like I even need to vol these. They work totally fine. The bosses die really fast, so I never bothered to do it. I couldn't. There's not really much I can upgrade as far as equipment. I mean, if I wanted to buy like some 100 Divine Orb rings, that would be better. I could buy like 100 Divine Orb amulet, but again, it's such a small boost that it's not really making a big difference. I still have similar boots. I still have these gloves with this attack speed. Really important you get the attack speed on the gloves because that affects your totems. And that's basically it. Everything is obviously change your armor if you're not playing a smith, but you could use this on every class, so it doesn't matter. As far as charms go, I just switch to whatever charm depending on what content I'm going to be in. But most of the time, I'm just running a rarity charm and a slow charm. Slows are really annoying, so a slow charm is really nice. But that is basically how the equipment's set up. I just stacked as much life and as much strength as possible and as much resists. I could have got more resists, but I felt like these resists honestly felt fine at 83%, so I didn't even bother to get any more. I wasn't really having any problems. And 69% chaos, again, I wasn't really having any problems. Totems, you don't really have to get close to enemies, so it feels like you don't take as much damage. I have a 4,000 health pool, 72% block, 50% armor. Yeah, this all felt fine. I felt pretty tanky pretty much all the time with this setup. So yeah, this is all fine. I socketed maximum life cores into most of my gear. Some chaos res, maximum life, Just have life, strength, fire, res, flat damage on the rings. Really important to get the flat damage on the rings. That affects your totems. I'm running this Chernobog's Pillar, but you could swap this out for a cheap shield if you want to. This just gives you a nice damage boost and it's comfortable when mapping. You can also use 2 hammers while mapping, but the life cost and the lack of survivability is going to be really annoying and you're going to die really fast. So the shield does feel nice with mapping with totems because you're going to get hit just based on the fact that you have to wait for your totems to do their thing. And sometimes enemies are just going to be able to run up to you and hit you. So the shield feels really nice. And it combines really, really nicely with these block nodes. This life on block node is really, really nice. And all this stuff down here, really nice for survivability. So really important to have that. That's really, really nice. I like that a lot. So that's the one thing that block does well. The flat damage definitely affects your totems, so don't miss flat damage on your rings. Percent damage is good too, but flat damage is better. So 100% recommend you do that. Feels really good if you have some attack speed on your gloves, so definitely get that. The other thing that's a very nice quality of life is this life on kill. Life per enemy killed is really, really nice. Regeneration rolls and life on kill. Like regeneration rolls, if you can get regen rolls with your strength and life and resists, life on kill feels really good. You can get life on kill on rings. You can get life on kill on hammers as well. Sometimes hammers will come with life on kill or life on hit, which is also nice. But life on kill feels really good. So as long as you have at least one source, you can also get these on a jewel. Some jewels come with life on kill. So if you can find a jewel that has percentage life on kill, plus it has like whatever else, like elemental damage or whatever it might be, it's probably going to be a blue jewel. So it'll probably have to be elemental damage and life on kill. And that would probably work fine. So I would recommend that if you can't get it on a ring or on your weapon. So you could either get it on your gloves, a ring, or a weapon. But the game feels a lot better to play if you have at least one source of life on kill. Okay, let's talk defenses, strictly defenses when it comes to endgame warrior. Life, most important thing. Resistance, second most important thing. Actually, these are probably about equal, honestly. Max res as much as you possibly can get. If you can get to 75, 80, whatever you can get to, it's going to feel great. You want at least around 50% chaos. And the 4K life feels good. If you can get to more than 4K, it's going to feel really good. A little bit of block is nice, but it's not 100% necessary if you play safe. And if you're playing with totems, you're going to be playing pretty safe. Or if you have a lot of stun buildup, things like that. Now you can cap your res if you don't mind dropping some area of effect on this totem build. So if you want to drop all this area of effect, you can pick up these nodes down here. And these nodes will cap your res. So that's a really good defensive layer, right? That combines well with this stuff over here, right? Like this is really good defensive stuff. This movement speed is good defensive stuff. If you have a high armor roll on your gloves, so like I only have a 96 armor roll on my gloves, but if you have gloves that are like a 500 armor roll, you could also pick up this for mapping. So you'd put this on weapon set 1, 2, 3, boom, right there. So you'd grab those 3 nodes on weapon set 1. So you could drop those points from wherever. You could drop some damage if you wanted to drop some damage and just grab those. So if you wanted to move a few points, you could, if you have a really high roll on your gloves, like if you have +2 melee gloves with like a 400, but probably a 500 armor roll, you could grab these leather bound gauntlets. And this is a really strong node if you have really high armor roll gauntlets. And since you're pathing right by it, and I would probably just grab it on weapon set 1 because you're gonna need that more for mapping. You won't really need this otherwise, honestly. But anyways, okay, back up here. Yep. So if you don't feel like you need more area of effect and you want more resistances, you can take advantage of the resistances right here. So these resistances are also really good. And they're worth grabbing if you feel like you need more resistances. So this is an option if you feel like you need more res and want less area of effect. I wanted more area of effect because I liked the AoE, but if you want more defenses, you could also take advantage of this resistances stuff right here. This stuff is also good. And I'd probably run that on weapon set 1, just for mapping. I find on bosses, you don't need it as much because the bosses die pretty fast. Okay, for shields, if you're rich, you can run a Chernobog's Pillar. If you're not rich, you can just use a Rise of the Phoenix shield, or you can use whatever other shield. You can also use a Inferno class belt if you're playing a Smith and you want more max res. Inferno class belt is nice for that because it'll give you a lot of max res, as well as the shield. So the way I see it is you probably want to run one or the other. You probably want to run like a regular shield with an Inferno clasp or a regular belt with one of these, and then get a Chernobog's if you want, if you can afford it. You can also just run whatever shield with like life, resists, strength, whatever else on it, right? So you could just run whatever shield. Chernobog's is probably best in slot just because it gives you lots of damage. But I honestly really like this shield. This shield's super underrated. It's actually like overtuned. People just haven't figured it out. I think mostly due to the fact that everyone pays attention to armor rolls on shield, but armor rolls on shield are pretty much meaningless, and you almost have max block with this build anyway, just by the way that the block chance is set up on the skill tree. How much block you have on the skill tree, and because you're using this node down here, you already have max block even if you're using this shield. So I mean, you're still at 70% block, right? It's plenty, it's lots. So even if you're running this cheap shield, you're still getting a ton of block chance, and you can get a 2-socket one for cheap and slot in lots of life, and it's going to give you resistances, and then it regenerates 3% of maximum life per second, which is huge. Like that jumps my regeneration up 120 points per second. They're 130 points per second. So it's like a big jump. And then it also does 3% of life while on low life, which is huge. This is a huge amount of regeneration. This is like permanent health potion. It's crazy. It's really strong. And like just for comparison's sake, like if you take all the regeneration on the tree, like this is 75.75. This is 0.5. This is 0.5. Like there isn't even 3% regeneration, flat regeneration on this whole tree, I don't think. Like this shield gives you like twice as much regeneration as you can get on the entire skill tree. Like this is a really strong shield for cheap. Like all these nodes don't give you that much. So this is 0.5. Like you'd have to take all the regeneration on the tree just to equal this cheap shield. So like if you want a cheap option, just use this cheap shield. It's totally fine. And then get a really good belt to go with it. So then you don't have to wear an Inferno clasp, because you can just get a super good belt. You can get like a belt with, so I got double strength. So I got 40 strength, 152 life, and then some resists. Like this is a really nice belt. I wish it had 3 charm slots and I'd be happy. I would never have to replace it. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with this. Like this is a good combo belt, and then you can just use a cheap shield with it, and it's totally fine. You can get away with that. All right, guys, that's basically it. I hope this helped you. There isn't a lot of builds in this game that are casual player friendly. You need like 200 divines to make most of them work, but this you can make work for cheap, and it'll get you through the end of the game, and it's very comfy and relaxing to play. So I hope this helps. If you've got any questions, feel free to throw them down below. I don't mind helping people out and answering people's questions. I really like this game. I think it's really fun, and it's also very complicated, so I know it could be a little tough if you don't have some guidance as to what to do and if you're feeling stuck. So I'll see you guys on the next one, and I'll probably be doing more builds on the next league, so I'll keep you posted if I'm playing something that I think is good.